Whoa! Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Monday, coming to you from the big worship room at Glenwood United Methodist Church, located on the west side of Columbus, Ohio. It is time for Monday morning GCEC Chapel with yours truly, Pastor Leo Cunningham, but the kids here at the Education Center refer to me as Chapel Guy. And we are here for chapel. I'm going to tell you a story. You seem to like those stories from when I was a kid because a lot of you don't realize that, hey, guess what? Adults were once little kids, just like you. Yep, all your grown-ups in your life were once 4, 5, 6, 7. We weren't born this age. We were young, just like you were. So I'm going to tell you about a story from when I was in school. I had a teacher in school named Mr. Zelegowski. It's a Polish name. Mr. Zelegowski was in charge of our science class that year. And the first day of school came, and Mr. Zelegowski gave us a set of instructions. And Mr. Zelegowski wanted us to follow the instructions. And so I'm in a room full of people. Some of them I knew, old friends. Some of them would eventually become new friends. And some people, well, just don't get along with everybody. We didn't become friends, did not like them. Anyway. And so I'm looking at the instructions. I'm listening to the instructions. The very first instruction said, write your name and the date in the left-hand corner of the paper. So I wrote my name and I put the date down. And I kept going. And then I noticed, there's a math problem. I did the math problem. I kept going. I was like, something about choosing between A and B. So I did that. Then all of a sudden, this kid named Ed in the class jumped up from his desk and he started quacking like a duck. Quack, 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 quack. Ed sat down. We were all just like, what in the world? And we're working, and then all of a sudden, Mike jumps up and starts quacking like a duck. Quack, 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 quack. And he sits down. And I'm like, what? That's wild. Why are they quacking like ducks? And then at one point, somebody behind me stood up and started singing the Hokey Pokey chorus song. If you know the Hokey Pokey, maybe you do, maybe you don't. Ask your classroom teachers or your grown-ups in your life, what is a Hokey Pokey? It's an old song, but about, you put your right hand in, you put your right hand out, and, put your right hand in, and you shake it all about. You do the Hokey Pokey, and you turn. There are kids doing the Hokey Pokey in the middle of science class. I was like, this is crazy. But there was a kid sitting next to me named Rodney. Rodney leans over, and he taps me. And I'm like, what? And Rodney's like, look at 25. And I was like, what? Rodney said, look at 25. I looked down on the paper. Number 25 was the last instruction. And it said, do not do anything except for instruction 1. You see, there were all of these wild things that people were doing on the instructions, but they didn't read the last one. And the last one said, ignore everything except for this and the first instruction. And so I saw that, and I sat my pencil down. So you know who did not quack like a duck? Chapel Guy. You know who did not get up and do the Hokey Pokey? Chapel Guy. Why? 2 things. 1, I had a friend who really cared about me and didn't want to see anything bad happen to me. 2, I followed all the instructions because I read all the instructions first. Because sometimes we get really excited about things and we just want to go and do them and go right ahead, but sometimes we have to slow down and listen to all the instructions because they're really, really important. Happened one time in the Bible, God was trying to help some people get some food. And God wanted to make sure that they could follow all the instructions. And the instruction was, I'm going to make sure you get something to eat every day. But here's the deal. I'm only going to give you food every day if you only take enough for today. If you take extra food, you're not following the instructions. Just take the food you need for today. Just take the food don't take extra, just the bread you need for today. And God said, I want to make sure that they are going to learn to follow and read and listen to all the instructions. Don't read some of them. Don't skip them. Don't listen to listen to all the instructions. Every instruction. Then go do what you have to do. So even God is like grown-ups sometimes. Listen to the teachers, listen to the grown-ups in your life who are going to give you all the instructions. Okay? All right. So here are your next set of instructions. It's time for us to say goodbye from Monday Chapel, and that means it's time for the drum of dismissal. And this is meant to be played with two hands, but it's hard to play because I'm holding it by the strap. So that's why sometimes my drum beats aren't as complicated as they should be. So, everybody, koalas, busy bees, dino A, dino B, piglet, monkeys, tigers, school-agers. You are all dismissed. Pastor Leo Cunningham coming to you from the big worship room here at Glenwood United Methodist Church. Monday Chapel is done. I will see you next week for chapel.